Jamie Lee. Welcome back to In the Front Row. This is another episode where we discuss The Boys, episode 5, The Farm. I know it's not called that, but that's what I'm calling it because that was the most traumatic part of this episode. Welcome to my friends, Taco, Jace, Tyrone, and Don. How are we going, guys?
Good.
Well,
Hi. Good.
Great. So we'll jump in. We won't mention the farm just yet. We'll do the farm quite later because there was a little bit that happened before the farm. Mm-hmm. So we got the V52 Expo, which is, you know, your version, and we call it Supernova here, but like a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And we got what version of that? Yes, where they mock and take the piss out of Disney/Marvel and all their millions of phases that they have and the reshoot after reshoot. Yeah. What did you guys think of that opening? Was it a little bit funny for you guys?
Yeah, I was like, what is it, like phase 7 through 19 or something weird, something crazy like that? Yeah, it was funny. It was a good joke.
We didn't even talk about Will Ferrell's like cameo last
episode,
yeah,
right?
We
walked
right past it.
And
it's so good, the like Will Ferrell being the like blind side guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's so good.
No, I was just gonna say that I think like the whole scene, it was funny, but it was also like really informative. You can see how it's impacting, like, because they're trying to be very racially selective with all of it. And they're like, you can see A-Train is getting extremely annoyed and just frustrated, where it's just like blatantly racist to him. And it's just like, what the fuck? So I think it not only was a funny scene, but it was also a very informative scene to see where A-Train's thoughts lie.
I think it's kind of also giving us that reason why he's going to eventually be the informant, right? Or
well, no, I mean, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was trying to say.
Talk about that more. I feel like it's just so obvious at this point that they're going to rope-a-dope us. I feel like it's going to be he's almost going to flip and then something's going to happen.
Ooh, you think so?
Or he's going to die.
I keep saying this. We need a death.
I think he's going to die too.
Jesus Christ.
Tyrone, what about you?
Sage and A-Train, like that dynamic of them going back and forth. So I was like sort of like digging into it a little bit, and like I forgot that they like it's a nod back to I think season 2, how they were both like in like a teenage group together. Yeah, and I guess they sort of have like they have like beef and all that. And I kind of like how that's brewing in the background and like stirring up. And I think like A-Train dying would make the most sense because he's also the first person that we see in the story starts to take out Hughie. So like it comes full circle. And at this point, we kind of, I think, like A-Train more than we did at the beginning. So I think that would be a pretty good death because you also don't really want it to happen. But someone's got to go. Yeah. And if it's someone like Noir, it's not going to have the same.
It's already happened.
That Noir,
right?
Yeah.
So do we also
B-Ned's on that?
Right.
Like with this, because there's not much interactions between her and A-Train, but do we think like with this little interaction, like is she onto it? Like is she onto it?
I think she definitely knows because at the end when they. I don't want to get too far ahead, but
that's why I was like, I'm not trying to talk about the end just yet.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, before we even get to the end, she says a line just after their tiny little interaction, and she says, well, that footage didn't just run itself out of crime.
Run itself.
Like she's onto you, dude.
Yeah. I mean, she's the smartest person in the world. She fucking knows, you know?
But maybe one too many lobotomies from the deep might do it.
Maybe. I think she's really starting to catch on that although she's the smartest person in the world, she still isn't really as prepared as I think she thought she was for Homelander, because you get that scene where she's trying to egg him on like, this is great, right? Like really sucking his ass, mocking it sort of thing. And then he's just twitching in the background, his eyes are twitching, and he's just having those flashbacks of that red room and what he did last week prior, and just thinking the last scene I think we see from his flashbacks is Ryan, you know, like what he's doing to Ryan or what other people are doing to Ryan. So I don't think she really prepared herself for what Homelander is really like.
I loved it. Was it A-Train who said something like, oh, we're just finishing the 4th reshoot, so it's got to be good?
Yeah.
I was like, that's a really good line. Yeah. I mean, they did it 4 times. It's got to be good now, right?
Right.
And we're way over budget, which is only good things. It's like
Blade, man.
That's development.
That's the first thing I thought of, Blade, and how many times?
All that stuff.
Oh my gosh. So good.
And then there was the Was it like the three black? It was like the three black heroes, or two black
yeah.
heroes and one maybe black hero noir.
Oh, noir, yeah.
And they're like holding the drink, and then like it's like for our black subscribers.
Oh my
like,
god!
Like it changes. Like
I was like, yo, what
dude,
the
that
fuck?
honestly is where we're heading nowadays with all these fucking subscriptions. Like,
if that wasn't a real thing, if that was a real thing, I would go, oh, whoa, but I wouldn't be that surprised.
No.
Like the missteps are insane.
Like, speaking of Sage, also, there was the scene, the conversation between Firecracker and Sage. I think, like, there's going to be more to that because obviously there's a big thing going on, but I don't think Sage truly understood. I don't think Sage truly took into account like how much the seven are working against each other.
Yeah.
So like I think she's starting to be like,
she sees all that though.
I mean, but I don't think she realized it when she got into this all, because I think that yes, she's the smartest person, in the world, but also to try and get all of these egos and, play people in check is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's like sports almost, right? It's like you go into it thinking, oh, I got like the best players on the world on this team, and then that team doesn't end up winning a championship. It's because part of that job is managing egos, it's managing styles, right? And like I think exactly like what you just said, like I think she thought this job would be easier because I think she looked down honestly on Homelander. Like that conversation that they had in her room, she's kind of like, this guy's a dope, like I'm already a step ahead of you. What do you want? You're not going to kill me because that's why you're here, right? So like, but I think she didn't realize, like you said, that the rest of them are really just like puppets to him. Like, they don't really serve as great a purpose as she probably thought.
No,
I'm glad he used a sports analogy because it gives me an analogy to work with here. That analogy means that they're trying to win, right? Like, oh, she doesn't know the team she's going to get into because she wants a Super Bowl. We don't know if she wants a Super Bowl. We don't know if she wants to destroy the seven. We don't know what her goals are if she has goals. Yeah. And I really feel like, maybe that's a concern if she wants to win, but we don't know what her goal is. Maybe she wants to take down Homelander. I mean, I don't know.
What do you guys think her motive is? Because at the end of this episode, I genuinely do think she knows it's A-Train, but she helps get it sort of off of him by not exposing him. I think she knows the only way, or like if Homelander survives through all this, everyone ends up dead because he can't control someone like this, right? I think she knows the only way to actually stop Homelander is to like make him almost think it's his idea, or like have people sort of turn on him. So I think she actually genuinely is going to try to like get rid, like is going to be the thing to stop Homelander. But I don't know. What do you all think?
I don't think we have enough ingredients for me to tell you what the food is yet. I think that we're waiting on a massive reveal of something on her backstory, something. Such a big theme of this entire show is trauma, and so much of the trauma stems from Homelander or other supers, and that's kind of like every one of the boys, a super destroyed them in some way, right? Butcher, Mother's Milk, whatever have you. And we have it, and then go back to even Genevieve, like all of them have something awful that happened to them in their past, and it's always dealing with trauma, right? So we don't know Sage. We don't know her anything. All we know is that sometimes that she's really smart and sometimes she likes to scramble her brain and take it up the backside. Like, we don't really know much about her. Sorry.
We do know that but we do know that she has some sort of beef and history with A-Train. So,
well, that's what I was going to say.
So then I think we're going to get that reveal, and then we're going to go, oh. But if you guys actually have a prediction, Jamie Lee's famous for her bold predictions.
It's not even. It's not. I think she's obviously like the smartest person. I think she's going to realize that at a certain point there is no controlling Homelander. So I think there's going to be a certain point where I don't know if she's going to try and do it herself because she's going to try and think that she's bold enough to. But I think at a certain point she's going to try and sway him and like swindle him and try and probably get the better of him, and it might not work out for her. And I think she also could be one of the people who
she
dies.
Is playing him rather well because throughout this whole season, a little bit throughout all the show, but like really big this whole season, especially this episode, is that whole yes man thing of how Homelander is just getting so sick of everyone going, yeah, boss. He's getting over it, and that's why he went and got Sister Sage, right? So she's been able to play him and manipulate him, but in her own way, because she knows that he's so sick of the yes man.
It also helps too that when she is calculated, it has worked in his favor. So like, you know, it's like her words actually have value to him. So, you know, to Frito's like point here, that's like, you know, maybe she tries to like go over the edge with that a little bit, and then it smacks her back in the face. I could see her dying easily.
I see her getting torn in half. Thinking that she has real power.
But that's the thing. I think because she's the smartest person in the world, she knows she can't kill him. She knows that there's nothing she can do directly that can kill him. So her smartest play right now is manipulate him, which she's doing, and possibly find out a way to kill him. Maybe do the Batman route of get close to you and be your friend till I find out kryptonite kills you, and then now I have everything that I can kill you with 2 minutes later. So
I love that.
We don't know exactly, but yeah, I mean she knows right now at least her smartest move is don't piss the bear off, just keep feeding the bear salmon. That's
milk.
Basically what it is.
And milk.
I think she's a little bit bored. Like the fact that she has to dumb down her brain shows that she's kind of sick of being this smart person all the time. So why not just go in there, screw up a few people's lives? Like clearly she's got beef with Homelander. Let's screw him up. Let's get him kicked out of 7 or killed or whatever fun she wants to have there. I'm just saying she's a bit bored. She may as well just go there, do what Homelander says, but as you said, manipulate it to work in her way to bring people down, because that's the only fun she can really have. I mean, when Homelander met her, and we got to remember that too, Homelander went to her. She didn't come to him with an end game or a plan or wanting an in. She was just sitting at home, being smart, stuffing her face, watching TV. So she's probably bored of that and thinks, well, why not do things on a bigger level? Why not do things on a scale where I can do whatever I want and not get reprimanded for it?
No, does
and
she
also
have
too,
a morality?
if they're going to play her as the smartest person in the world, like she has to have 7 ways to get out of this right now already in her head. You know what I mean? Like if it gets to the point where she's got to get away and she's just like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, you didn't do any justice to this character. So like, they have to make her where she
I think what's going to happen if she gets taken out, because they do like to do this where they kind of introduce like a foil, like a second, like Stormfront or somebody and then what's his name? The Captain America dude. Soldier Boy of this really strong, powerful person who's kind of near Homelander and then is gone by the end of the season, right? And if that's either Firecracker or Sage or both, and I think the symbolism of Sage being taken down by Homelander is brute force and not being like ugly, dumb brute force wins over intellect. As sad as that is, you can have an argument with somebody and win that argument and completely prove all of their points wrong, and then they can punch you in the face.
Well, you know
what? Do anything about it.
One quick little note to touch. I do think you're right, Taco. That, but depending on what her trauma is, that's going to play into this. And I think to Jamie Lee's point, you know, maybe like her being bored or not being approved by her parents or someone will play into all this, where she will make that miscalculated step. But I think, you know, we can't undersell what we saw last week too, where it's like, you know, even though that woman knew that Homelander could split her in half, like she knew at the end of the day, she's like, look, you got mommy issues, man. Like you got very deep suited issues. And I think that, you know, Sage knows that as well. So I think she's going to find potentially a way, but you know, who knows? We'll see. But I do think they're giving us a few different options, like you said, Don.
I do want to say one thing though, is the biggest flaw with Sage is the difference between Homelander is when she wants to relax, she basically turns her power off. Like, so there's a clear opportunity for someone to take advantage of that and be like, oh,
she can't flip a switch and de-lobotomize.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh, okay. So we have a couple hours where she's a little bit on my level. So now,
A-Train's gonna see this and then tell the boys, maybe.
Possibly, I think that's probably the biggest, the best scenario in that.
I don't know. I think she's got A-Train by the balls at this point.
I mean, yes, but if A-Train somehow finds out that she gets lobotomized and gets dumber and tells the boys or takes advantage of that situation. He could easily get her out of Vought Tower and into the hands of the boys before she even knows.
Well, it's back to kryptonite. Is you don't have to be stronger than Superman, but if you do have kryptonite, like you don't need to be smarter than Sage or outsmart or anything. But if you wait until she's eating Taco Bell and has a little lobotomy, well, you go in there and
that's the biggest thing right now is I think a lot of the characters we have their kryptonites, except the biggest one, Homelander, is like we don't have a clear way to get rid of him.
I think we're underselling that emotional aspect may be his kryptonite because he wants to be loved. So like I think Ryan is kind of that kryptonite.
I really want to talk about him and Ryan this episode.
Yeah, we did talk about it last week, so let's touch on it now because I was so excited to see Homelander really take accountability for his actions and think, what they did to me is what I'm doing to Ryan. And I thought, yes, oh my gosh, Homelander is going to be daddy. Like, and I'm so proud of him.
Jamie Lee supporting the villain. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, always.
Not even a scene later, we get Homelander saying to Ryan, what do you want, son? You can have whatever you want. What is it? And bless Ryan's little heart, he wanted to save lives. Great. Here we go. This is such a good show. I'm so happy for this family development. And then
the Incredibles
Homelander form, he manipulates his son into doing the right thing to Adam Burke, I think his name is.
The director.
The director.
Mm-hmm.
And basically getting this lady to beat the shit out of him.
That was brutal.
I just thought this is like father, like son. And it made me sad because the whole time I've not wanted that. I've wanted Ryan to be this good. But it goes back to what we said in week 1. Could Ryan be the villain of Gen V in the future? So is this the lead up to this? What do you guys think?
Sure, Ryan was using violence on the director, whatever his name is. But he was doing it because the director was being a piece of crap. And he wasn't doing it for Homelander reasons where it's because I can, right? Or because I perceive that you're against me or what have you. He was doing it because he was seeing that the dude was like just totally sexually harassing his employee. So he's like, sure, going that way, HR would not be at your back. If I was like, hey, I saw this was going on, so I had her beat him, they'd be like, well, you're still fired, you monster. But still, at least he was doing it to somebody who had a
dark.
It's
dark Superman, right? It's like it's I want to do this to be a good person, but like the way I'm going to go about it isn't through the legal system. I'm going to put it into my own
Ryan's morality is closer to good, is what I'm getting at. He's not
totally.
Yeah.
Is it though? Because if somebody is begging to stop, if somebody is begging you to stop hurting them now, you go, oh shit, I'm doing the wrong thing. All right, that's enough. He's had enough punishment for now.
No,
I won't say he was morally good, but it was gooder. It was more good.
He was sipping on his milkshake like daddy and didn't give a F about who was getting hurt.
True, but also that director guy didn't stop harassing her either. So
yeah, she said stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamie Lee always
okay.
She's like, she won't take that shit.
All right.
But no. I mean, I see what you're saying about Ryan, but like to answer your question, like, will he be the villain? I think that the only way that sort of happens is if we end up the story with Homelander like losing, right? If Ryan sort of sees it as they took my dad from me, kind of thing. Otherwise, I don't really see him. I see him like maybe joining that like Gen V kind of or whatever, kind of be like their next good guy.
I think he's the fall of Homelander. Like I think he's the one who takes him out or does something. Eventually, I'm not saying by the end of this season.
Don has a really weird take on this, and I want to see what you guys think because I don't agree with him on this.
I don't like it when Don smiles like that.
Yeah, no, he's been waiting to bring this up, and that's why I've been like, "All right, Don, come on now." Let them know you're weird.
So here's the thing.
I see too much Florida man stuff on YouTube. I don't like it.
I will. Fair enough. No, listen, I will say this. I don't disagree with you guys that you like. I'm not saying you're wrong because I do definitely think in that scene, in that moment, they're definitely portraying him as like he's turning. Mm-hmm. But there is just a moment at the end where he turns to Homelander and looks right before he smiles, where it's almost like he's saying, yeah, anybody can fucking manipulate you, you fucking moron. Like, even I can make you think that I'm on your fucking side.
Do you think that's a big?
Don't
It's just a slight second, but he just kind of looks at him like, you fucking moron. And then
I don't know if that happened, but I like it.
Well, I mean, it's very possible.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's just it's just a little moment he does, and maybe it's nothing, but to me it was like, he's planning something.
The look was more like, all right, this is pretty fun, Dad.
It definitely could be. I'm not.
So I mean, that would be a cool interpretation. I interpreted it personally like almost like, hey, did I swing the bat correctly, Dad? You know, like.
Well, I can clearly see it that way too. That's why I'm saying, but it is just a moment where I was like, is he really cool with this, or is he really just?
I get what you're saying.
I can manipulate the fuck out of you too. Like, I've just watched these people manipulate you. Like, who are you?
Yeah, and I've not thought too much about that, Don, but now that like my brain's ticking over a little bit on it, like you could see where he would get those impressions from. Like, he's got Butcher on his side. He probably thinks, oh, I've got another dad that's going to take you down, sucker. You know, he probably is adding up little pieces, but doesn't really fully comprehend how dangerous his dad really is, or how much power or how much damage his dad has in his brain. I don't think he fully understands that yet.
I think the dead giveaway,
and I don't know, whatever. Hey,
I think the dead giveaway for me is that, like, prior to that scene too, he's like, wait, Dad, like, I mean, do you really mean it? Like, I don't have to do that, like show, I don't have to do this movie, and like he kind of keeps asking for his permission. It just keeps that, and like, so I think him seeing his dad kind of like being like, I think he's not sure if he can trust his father yet, right? So like him looking back to kind of be like, oh wait, Dad, like, you're okay with this? Okay, I can make my own decisions. He doesn't realize that Homelander is still manipulating him, but he's also, even though he doesn't fucking look it, because my God, I think this actor is getting older and older. He's still supposed to be a kid, right? So I don't think he's picked up on it personally.
Yeah, great theory though, Don. And we can predict all we want, but we're never going to know
yet.
There's going to be a massive development. So
before we move past it, I like that what you brought up really early on was Homelander realizing that he is doing the same type of abuse that he went through, and then giving his son for real. I'm not just saying this so you can say yes, because 90% of the time when I talk to anybody, Ryan, I'm waiting for them to say yes and leave me alone. Yeah. But I'm actually asking you, what do you want to do? And he did that because we keep seeing the flashes. All he's doing is thinking about about how he grew up and what being tortured and being turned into a weapon. And then he's like, wait, I need to be a dad. And as small as that is, that's huge for a moment.
It was huge. It was so good.
It's a great moment for the character, for sure.
It's probably my favorite part of the episode, even past all the crazy stuff we're about to talk about.
Okay, well, let's talk about my favorite part of the episode, because I was meh to me. I wasn't too phased about Hughie's dad in the last episode. I mean, it was great, good scenes and stuff. But I was like,
I forgot that was also this episode.
But this was massive. So we see Simon Pegg, Hughie Sr., become what Don said, a superhero. Simon Pegg, who doesn't want to be a
superhero. I don't know about that, but
there was nothing super about what he did. Let's be very clear on that.
And nothing
super. We will say that.
Can we just, before we move, just say Simon Pegg? That this is like when you put Simon Pegg in a show and you get this kind of a performance. Yeah. Like, for a minute, I was like, do the rest of these guys act? Because I just got blown out of the water by Simon Pegg's performance. Right. It was one of the best performances of this entire show. All in one.
I love Simon Pegg overall. Just obviously his early stuff, but even recently, he does a lot of cameos, man, and he's just so good in a lot of things.
Everything with this scene, like with him and the family, like had so much range of emotions, highs, lows, like insane, crazy moments, and I think it was just. By all three of them, honestly, like all three of them in these scenes were great.
I also think this is what this show does so well is even though we can have the freaking A train running through somebody, all these crazy things that we see in this show, but we still get these moments of like, no, this is still a story about, with people in it, and they are still trying to tell a story. And it's so well how they weave all this craziness together with these really great dramatic moments. So
yeah, and it's like it's not these grandiose moments. It's just like simple moments of like, well, you know, the cause and effects of the superheroes' actions on like regular civilians, right? I think those are the most authentic, excellent moments. Not to get into Marvel, that I think sometimes Marvel like lacks, and that's what sort of brought a lot of folks into this show originally. Like I think for me, in season 1 of this show, like just seeing how kind of like, oh, so like this is sort of from that civilian perspective. And I think when they bring us back into those moments, that's when the show has like really, really excellent moments. And yeah, I think this was definitely like one of those like memorable scenes in the entire series for me too.
Yeah,
100%. The writing of it was just perfect. As Don said, we can go from something completely silly like what happens at the farm that we see later to this moment where we get perfect writing of the story where Hughie is really hurt. Like, why didn't you make me power of attorney? Like, what's wrong with me?
Right.
And his dad mentioned the story about Jar Jar the cat, saying that you couldn't put your cat down. Your cat was in agony. It literally exploded to death because you couldn't put it down. You couldn't let go. And to then have that come full circle where he has to put his dad down, he has to let him go. I cried. That is so fucking deep.
I was hysterical. I was crying. Like, I was literally, I'm watching the show and I'm on a call with Don and I'm just like, God damn it, what the fuck? I was so sad.
No, it's a really great moment, and it's a sad moment because, again, like you said, the full circleness of it, of him having to do that, and even I don't even think the mom quite understood in the moment what was going on until he did it. Like, because he's kind of keeping it tight, and it's kind of almost just 3 people in the room, but there's a conversation only going on between 2 people. They're just having almost this like, it's just a really, really well done, like you said, well written and well done.
I mean, even from the scenes where we're getting how, the very first scene where he comes back from getting the drink and he's like, oh, I got you this strawberry kiwi. And he's like, where's dad? And they find him in that room. And he's just like, one is so confused, doesn't know who Hughie is because he thinks that Hughie's supposed to be 11 years old. And he sees Daphne. And he just said, and he's just like, you're not my son. And then he sees Daphne and he gets so enraged. But like, the scenes afterwards were typical boys moments where, he runs into someone and explodes their freaking insides and just that scene fucking sent me. I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
So let's talk about superpowers for a second. Normally when it comes to phasing, so if you look at Kitty Pryde in X-Men, if she phases into your head, let's say with her hand, and then she unphases, equal damage is going to happen to both her hand and your head. She will lose her hand and your head's going to have a hand in it, right? So it hurts the person, right? For some reason, he could just phase in and then just phase out and they get expelled and he's fine. And it's like, that is the most terrifying superpower. It is so stupid strong where you could just like just blow up.
Literally.
Oh my God.
It's so terrifying.
Oh my God.
The after effects is probably where they get their repercussion, I guess you could say, like if her hand got chopped off. His mental like coming to terms with the fact that he just did that is probably the most hurtful part to that superhero, I would say. Because he was really confused and he had no idea. And again, he didn't ask for this. He did not ask for V. He did not want to be resuscitated. And I think that was a big thing too, that like if he was unable to live, he didn't want to live. So the fact that Hughie had that option to either give him that or take it away, and he chose, no, I'm not going to do it, but the mum thought she was doing the right thing, I think that's huge too, because he didn't want to be alive if it was his time to go, he wanted it to be his time to go. He didn't want people to hold on. So the fact that, that do not resuscitate did come full circle as well, and he did get to die.
And last week we were talking a lot about how we thought the mom had ulterior motives, and I just don't feel that way now. I think
we were way off.
We were off.
I personally was way off on the mom.
Sure. No, I think we all thought that. So
but like also now, how the fuck do you guys explain the dead body in the fucking OR room? And how the fuck do you explain him phasing in and out of people? Where were you guys?
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, they can cover it up.
Right.
Yeah,
That man
they'll cover all that up. Looking for it. They cover up what happened at
they'll
Godolphin
call it, what's her
University.
name? The lady
Kate.
that they,
You see
Yeah.
nothing.
I do think I did like how they sort of ended that story and everything. It was like you got to say his goodbye and all. Like it just felt right. It just you're looking at that guy and just laying in bed and you're like, this man is in no condition to fuck a sheep, right? Like it's just it was time for him to go. So and what a great performance by him. In those few moments. So
I really loved seeing Stan Edgar back. I was not expecting to see him bust out of jail, and I was here for that.
My boy.
That was.
I forgot that Giancarlo Esposito was even in this show. Like he's like,
would you?
Oh my god,
man! You give me Giancarlo Esposito, I'm in for sure.
Oh, dude, also full, like he was full on. Like that was all the Esposito-isms. He was doing them. He was fixing his tie like 4 times. Like, let's go.
You mean
like,
you're not putting a seat down, like a towel down for me to sit on? What is this?
Right. That was an awesome line. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. In it. Yeah.
He's always great, man. He's always fun to watch.
Like a prince. Oh, where'd you get that suit? My prince. Prince. Blah blah blah.
Prince also bought me these shoes.
No, they hand him a script and it's like, oh, where are my lines? And they're like, it just says, do Giancarlo Esposito stuff.
I mean, he just has a way where it's like he has these little moments. He goes and he's such a facial actor too, where it's like he doesn't need to say much. He'll just look at Hughie and it's just like you could just tell he's like this pathetic, small, insolent creature. It's just like he's so good at that.
So we see him bust out of prison with the boys because they have a little motive of their own. They want to make a deal in order to get this virus from Victoria Newman. And he doesn't want to play along until he finds out that Victoria has been dosing her daughter, Zoe, with the compound or Temp V, I think she was dosing her with.
I'm pretty sure she just beat her up.
Yeah. And so he doesn't really want to get on board until he figures that out because he wants custody of her and wants to sort of raise her the way that he did Victoria Newman. And I really love their relationship and how that develops through this because you've got to remember she's the one who betrayed him with all the political stuff. And then in this episode, the one thing that I noticed as soon as we saw them at that farm and, Butcher's with the little bunny, everybody's nose started bleeding except for Edgar's. So she was like, I can kill all of you, but I'm not killing him. Right. And so I thought, I love their development throughout this little scene.
And they missed it too. The boys missed it completely that he was the only one,
Yeah. So what do you think of their relationship and the fact that, she's forgiving him?
She lets him out, right? And it was unexpected. And it's almost kind of like, okay, are these two going to pair up? And also she's lost her husband at this point. They think that he's gone, right? So, I think she's going through a tough moment because she's like, my God, my husband or man is dead. And so I think that's that's a quick reflective moment that she makes in that decision of like, I don't want to lose my father as well. And it's just, it's so well executed, honestly. Because now that he's back in the game, like you said, we all love Giancarlo, and to have him be another player out there, I think it's just, it opens up a lot for her too. And I think, again, not to make a sports reference, I think she could use him for coaching.
I love their scene. There was that like, how could you do this to me? You treated me this way, like really amazing. Them kind of working it, conversation we all have to have with our parents every once in a while. And it was like this really good, like, oh, I heard you're doing this to your daughter. And she's like, you want to talk about treating people wrong? You want to talk about raising people? Like, what do you make me do? And man, it was such a good scene. And it's something that I didn't think I needed or wanted.
Right.
Like, I was like, if somebody goes, oh, they're going to bring Giancarlo back and there's going to be like between him and Newman, I'm going to say, I don't care. But no, I did. I loved it. They pulled it off. It was a really cool scene.
Yeah.
So we get their moments together, and then we get the actual farm. So at the farm, Samir is doing testing on these animals. We see a beautiful moment of Butcher picking up this rabbit and letting it free because they've injected it with some Temp V, and it says like wear a muzzle, so that something very terrible has happened to this poor bunny. And Kimiko sees that warmth in Butcher, and I loved that. She just gave him this smile, like, you do have a heart, and it was really sweet. And then we go
because she was in a cage and got left out, so there's like that whole literally she was that bunny because she was being tested with
and what a beautiful scene that is. Like, just so many little moments in this that really made my heart feel like
the entire time I was like, don't let that bunny out. Like, you don't go into supervillain labs and go, well, this kid's normal. No, he isn't. He's a supervillain. Don't let them out. But okay.
I'm with you on that one for sure.
Okay.
I was 100%
the biggest fan.
Yeah. No way.
And then we go further into the lab and we start being introduced to the flying sheep. Not flying pigs, flying sheep.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hell yeah.
I want 2 of them.
When the boys goes full the boys, dude. Like when the boys just like, all right, we're gonna do some crazy shit, dude.
They had the mutant bulls, and I was just like, oh shit, it's about to get crazy. And then the fucking sheep come. I'm like, what the
fuck? Yeah.
Don's like, I want 2 as a pet.
I want 2. I want 2 to protect me. Like Michonne, like Michonne in Walking Dead. I just want 2 of them. I just walk around with me. Yeah, I just want 2 of them.
I just want to draw that now. Just like you, samurai sword, and 2 like with their jaws missing, chain sheep just hanging, and you're like, what?
Oh wow!
And I'm gonna teach them to scream like the goats in fucking Thor Ragnarok. So there we go. That's what I'm doing.
So annoying.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, boom. That's the most annoying part about that. You don't need to worry about them like ripping your face off. You just need to worry about your ears burning from that horrendous
again, this is the complete counteract to my point earlier, which is this show can completely make you fucking cry your eyes out one moment and then give you this insanity the next moment, and you're just like, this is awesome.
There's literally the like, it's so dumb it's brilliant.
Yes.
Like if I were to pitch this, you guys are gonna say, no dude, that sounds like a horrible thing, don't do that. All right, so guys, flying sheep, and they're gonna swoop like dragons.
And
they're gonna be like vampire sheep. And you're going to say, that's stupid. And then halfway through, they're like, we're on to something.
This might actually work, guys.
I think what happened is that the chicken torpedoes were like, okay, they can't break a door down. Let's go just a little bit bigger. You're like sheep.
And a little bit heavier.
It's sheep.
So we get them all trapped in the room, and then we have this trade-off, I guess you could say. All right, who's willing to die? Who are we going to throw to these sheep? And we have a moment there where everybody sort of confesses, like Butcher says, I made a deal with so-and-so. Stan says, I made a deal with so-and-so. Victoria says, I made a deal. And you realize every one of them are corrupt and working for their own reasons. They find Samir, Victoria's man, and he has 1 vial of the virus in order to attract the animals so that they would take the virus.
It was a nice way to see what it can actually do, like you said. But it was also like just a funny scene when like, all right, wait, they actually ate the body and it's not working. What
do we do?
And it was just like,
dude, when they land on the roof though, and it's just like da-doom. You're just like,
terrifying,
what is happening now? Because we just saw them destroy a bull. So
I love this.
The door, like they just like walk it, like push the door open, walk in. It's like, wait a minute, what the fuck is
this? Like beautiful horror movie execution, right? Where you're trapped in, like any monster flick, right? And they're trapped in, and then the boom, 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 boom. It just reminds me of any horror movie. But it's flying sheep. Like, it's so dumb, but it's like it pulled it off.
Yeah. But they all make it out alive, which is hooray, great. Nobody is sacrificed to the lambs, literally.
No one was lambs to the slaughter.
And then we get the scene at the end where they couldn't find Samir, but they do find Samir's leg, so everybody assumes he was.
Which I don't understand why no one put it together. Like that leg was really clean cut.
Yeah,
that leg was really fucking clean cut for a gnawed off by a sheep.
Yeah, but these are special sheep. They whip out their knives. They do it clean.
He could have
because we definitely saw them cut that one woman out of the air.
Not to give them like the writer some fluff here. You got to think a lot of shit's going on. They're crazy. They're running everywhere. They're emotional. They're just trying to get out of there. Then they're like, okay, now my dad's getting arrested. Like, where is my husband? There's so much shit going on. It's dark. I think they're just kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I think that was sort of like the vibe that they were trying to get off. But I mean, to think at the end here that it's old Billy Boy, I didn't see that coming personally. Did you all?
No, I didn't.
No, I thought it was the sheep. So the moment when we had that reveal that it was Butcher, and just the interaction with that was hilarious. Absolutely so funny. Where he was like, you cut off my leg. And he's like, yes, I got to tell you, your football days are over. Like, he's just so cool about chopping off somebody's leg.
And he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. Well, anymore.
Not anymore.
Like, D. Morgan comes in, or was it Jeffrey D. Morgan comes in and he's like, old Butcher's back. It's like, old Butcher's a piece of crap, though. Like, he's like,
we don't want old Butcher.
You're awful again. Cool.
I got to talk about that because I've heard so much shit talking and it makes me mad because I don't want it to be real. But people are saying that Jeffrey D. Morgan's character, is a figment of Carl's imagination. So where we've been seeing Becca, and that is not Becca, like obviously Becca's dead. They're saying that this guy was an old like war friend who's the devil on his shoulder, and then you've got Becca. And in the scenes, I went back because I was so infuriated that people are saying this guy's not real.
They're only alone together.
Yeah, they're only alone together.
Two people that are alone together.
This is the first time I've heard it, but I kind of like it.
In my defense, I can say that the reason why I think he is real is because he gave Butcher that
but he also never used the powder.
He didn't, but he did make the cookies. So
but that could also still be that could just be part of his imagination too.
Okay, and let me go with something else then. Let me roll with something else.
She's ready, guys. Bring it on.
So when they had to get obviously some sort of thing to dose up this guy so he didn't scream when they were chopping off his leg, he had to get some sort of drugs. And Frenchie at this time, who we will talk about in a second too, wasn't on the scene to sort of like do the drug dealing concoctions that he does. So he would have got that from Joe, and Joe works for the CIA, and the CIA would have been needed to get Stan Edgar out of prison. So they sort of are working together in order to get this goal of the virus. So he's got to be goddamn real.
I hope he is. I really do.
Mother's Milk gets the pardon, though. Not him.
I never
Mother's
thought
Milk
about
can't
this.
Do anything.
No, this is the first time I've heard this.
He specifically says to Mother's Milk, he's like, oh, by the way, we're also going to need a pardon. A presidential pardon. Remember when the boys?
Yeah, Mother's Milk got on the pardon.
He did.
Not
Mother's
him.
Milk did a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Tick.
Yes.
Yes, go MM.
At least that's how I took. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
No,
that's how I took
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
I don't know.
Big bit of imagination.
He's driving when they pull up, right? In this episode, he's driving.
I don't like
right?
that you've instilled it in me.
I
can think it.
Don, I think he was driving. And there was a door. They opened a door.
He opened the door. I saw him do it.
You need to go back and watch Fight Club, dude.
The first conversation they have is in like
that
little.
I was gonna say that's
just
true.
the two of them.
Yeah, but remember, sometimes if we're following Fight Club rules, sometimes it's him seeing Tyler Durden. Sometimes he is Tyler Durden. Jeffrey D. Morgan is banging Marla Singer, but it's actually Butcher doing it.
That's what I think too. And like honestly, if you think about it, like. Just from like what we just said not too long ago, how Butcher is sort of like almost Wolverine in the sense of doing his own thing in the group. Like he really is just off the beaten path doing his own thing. Like it's just like the entire time.
Butcher has.
Sorry, I've really blown this up. Haven't I?
Butcher hasn't told MM about this yet.
No,
Butcher hasn't told MM who he's working with, and MM is part of his old team. So MM would have known who this character was. So if they finally have a conversation and MM looks at him and is like, dude, he's been dead for 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
that also changes what he says to him on the bench in the park, because he says, let's just you and me go off, not go off together, but you know what I mean. Like that's basically his psyche, like fucking with him. Like I think you need to get away from everybody else.
I
hate it.
I heard this really dumb theory and I hate it. We're all like, that's pretty plausible.
Like,
damn it.
Hear me out. The earth is flat. It's not flat.
But hear me out of why it doesn't work, because he opened a door.
Right, yeah.
Like, just a quick vote all the way around. Do you think Joe is real or
Oh,
a figment of
absolutely
his
not.
imagination?
I am hook, line, sinker in
I was
that
gonna
theory.
say,
Got
I don't
you.
know now.
I
He
sold
is
you on that
not
one. What do
real.
you?
Yeah,
What do you
absolutely.
Definitely
reckon, Jake?
got me.
No, I
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
I-
like, because it all makes sense now. Like,
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
I hate how much sense it makes.
Yeah, no, like again,
Karen?
like I haven't thought he was there the whole time, to be honest, too. I'm one of those
Really?
people. Like,
Okay, see,
Well,
I
I'm
was
not-
like, I was right.
Like,
all
Yeah,
along.
I always thought that.
No, I mean
was
it just
right.
because like the thing is, like we just said, like every time we see him it's just those two, and but the
Yeah.
big thing is that Frito said, it's like, why has not been involved with this? It's just weird to me, and like I genuinely
MM
just think
hasn't
like
been involved in anything.
I know, but like I just feel like
MM is not real. That's what it is.
Yeah,
MM
MM.
Right.
figment of
I just feel like-
imagination.
You guys ever think maybe the show's not real?
I just think the Butcher that we know is gone. Like that's where I am with
Yeah.
Butcher. I just don't think the Butcher we know is here anymore. So
No.
maybe that's a hot
Don't-
take. I don't know.
Say, I think I'm on your side too, man. It's
No.
definitely seems a lot more plausible now.
Yeah, no,
You
this
brought
is
up
really good.
I like how you brought up this.
And I'm like, nobody's agreeing.
Hey, listen to this stupid thing. We're all like buying it.
I don't know yet because you
There's
haven't
a-
actually shown me the video of him opening a door, so I can't believe that yet. That's fake news.
He's
for right
real.
Yeah,
now.
that's doctored. Yeah, that's doctored.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm really
That was funny.
disappointed with that because I really
I love
wanted
it.
you guys to say no, he's real.
No, I think that makes a lot. I love it.
I think it
dude.
makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't like
Amy,
it.
why did you do this to me?
Why did I do this? I don't
I
like
love
it.
it,
I
man.
really
Yeah, he
hate
just-
it.
I think just the biggest like last thing. I know we're wrapping it up, but like
Yeah.
he just hasn't talked to anyone but Butcher. So
But
like
he
Yeah.
doesn't talk to anybody. Butcher doesn't talk to people about stuff. Like
no,
he's
but I'm
so-
saying
Yeah, but he
Kessler,
has scenes
like
with
Kessler,
everybody
like-
else.
and like, like
always.
yeah.
yeah.
But if you're a CIA agent, are you going to go up to Starlight and be like, "Hey, what's up, girl?" Like you don't want to be seen with this.
I mean,
the
Mallory
enemy, you
was
don't wanna be
seen with a
seen
lot
the
of
boys.
other people.
Well, and also how
Was she?
you know,
Was
now
she?
that you've brought it up,
Yes.
yes.
Ryan.
Did she open a door?
Now that you
Yes.
brought it up, Jamie Lee, I thought the scene was weird when we first met him because there's a scene
Yeah.
with all these guys, and then he goes into a room by himself, and then he just
Figured it out.
happens like, and then the guy pops in, and I was thinking
Same
like,
thing at
what's
the
the deal
church.
with this dude? And now
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just pop up and it like after Butcher's done. It's like Butcher like dialed you, and what do you like take a jet and get there? It just like he pops up like just way too conveniently. And if
Yeah.
it is like that's just bad writing.
I hang out on this farm. I play cards with the flying sheep. I don't know how you guys
Yeah,
have
right.
such an issue with him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've debunked that. So Joe is not real.
Sorry.
Cool.
Maybe.
Great.
So we debunked that horrible theory. Everybody agrees with me that it's not real, and we're moving.
There's
Moving
probably
on.
a really nice way to find out if in that last scene where they cut off that dude's or what's his name,
Samir?
Samir.
if he actually makes eye contact with someone
Oh,
down
yeah.
low and
Oh,
up
man.
top, then that might debunk that.
Everybody's argument is that he looks around confused, like when Butcher says, "Yeah, we're going to have some fun with this," or something like that. He looks around confused, and that's not true. He looked around confused because they just cut his leg off. He's like, "What the hell is
Nah.
going on? What do you
Yeah.
mean you're going to make?"
Dude, he's
I'm gonna
married
make
to
a
Victoria Newman. Weird stuff happens on that farm. That's
With the
it.
flying
No,
sheep.
because you don't know what Butcher's motive is. Why does he want this guy? And the the reveal
virus?
thing is that he wants him to make more of the virus. So that's why he was
Okay.
looking like, well, what do you want me for? That was the point of that looking around. It's not because it's not real. But anyway, we're moving on from Joe not being real. And we're talking about the final little bit of the episode, which is Frenchie.
I don't know what the end game is here for him. I don't know what his plan is here because, all right, you're turning yourself in for all these murders and all this stuff, but like, dude, it wasn't like there was so much going on with it. Like, how do you really fully blame yourself after all the penance you've been trying to make up?
Yeah, but that's
for
the
and all
mind
this
of a
shit?
that's the mind of a junkie, and also
Yeah.
this is gonna get him clean too. Like hopefully,
Yeah.
You
But
can't
he's
get
not
him clean.
actually. He's never going to go to jail though.
Yeah, mother's milk and everyone. They'll make sure it doesn't.
They just got a presidential pardon for freaking Giancarlo Esposito. They can get Frenchie on account.
Here is where I can see this playing into possibly next season. What if because of this pardon he's going to possibly get, or however they get him out of this, they make him turn over the Russian?
That should be a good one.
I don't know if he's spilling the beans, then maybe they're like, okay, but you got to tell us. Like, you actually have to tell us who you work for. And then that's the next issue they have to deal with as the boys. Or at least another issue they have to deal with as the boys.
Could be.
Yeah, I think she's set on him. She is like, she is. I feel like she just like, no matter what he does, she's still just like, no, you work for me. Like, you work for me. Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, he hands himself in, and that was a little bit of a downer to me because I was like,
I love Frenchie. I do like him as a character. I think he's a great character.
But they're just closing it off too much. I'm not a fan. But anyway, those were our thoughts on episode 5. That was one of my favorite episodes in a while, so I'm very happy with that. Those were our thoughts. Come back next week to watch our thoughts on episode 6, and make sure you subscribe to me and all my friends in their links will be in the description box as well. Alrighty, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.